I believed Alex and I were blissfully married. Our 10th wedding anniversary was also coming up. It was the reason I had not seen it coming. I was too caught up in my happy bubble, but the news shattered it and brought me back to reality. He not only cheated on me with Bethany, my childhood best friend, but he also got her pregnant. My world had begun to disintegrate. Nevertheless, the truth was revealed with the DNA findings, and I would discover that I had the last laugh. But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. You know, I always believed my marriage was ideal. We were childhood friends who developed into something more. It was almost like a storybook. He was the gorgeous jock, and I was the year's valedictorian. We married right out of high school, and despite his offer, or rather push, for me to stay at home and start a family with him, I insisted on getting a degree. I wanted to have children with him and start a family, but I also realized that staying at home was not in my character. He joined me in sports near where I studied, and it was ideal, or so I thought. I'd been so blind. To have missed it would have been stupid, blind, and naive. Bethany had joined me at college, and the three of us had shared an apartment. It was cheaper, and we all knew each other. Yet it appeared to have started there. I had simply appreciated the fact that the two most important persons in my life got along and had not looked into it. A big mistake. Their affair had taken me entirely by surprise, despite the fact that it had been going on for far longer than I had expected. I remember it like it was yesterday, too. After an 8-hour shift, I was just finishing up dinner for the two of us when he walked into the kitchen, Beth trailing behind. Despite my confusion at her presence, I instantly offered her a seat at the dinner table, with no idea what was going to happen next. "I want a divorce," he had whispered, making me pause in my steps as I turned around, my gaze immediately drawn to their entwined hands on top of the table. Beth's hand then moved to her stomach. She looked at Alex, and I knew it was done. "I'm sorry, Clara," Beth remarked without guilt. "But we're pregnant," she said, smiling at me. I wanted to shout and cry, but I didn't. I stayed stuck in place, unable to fathom what was going on. "What do you mean?" I said in a weak whisper. "Clara, you and I, it just isn't working. We've been trying for over 10 years. We don't have a family, and there isn't much love left. But with Bethany, I'll have both." Alex replied, "I'm sorry," and pain rushed over me. The two individuals I trusted the most in the world had deceived me in the worst imaginable way. However, neither had any idea what was ahead for them. Alex had always been jealous of me. He couldn't handle it anymore after I received my master's degree and his sports career didn't take off. The frosting on the cake were our career opportunities. We had decided to return to our hometown because we were finally ready to start having children, but that was our first mistake. He hadn't had the same luck as me. I had entered the job market with a master's degree and nearly immediately landed the position I sought. He wasn't eligible and was trapped doing work he despised. It was where the first seeds of discontent were sowed. I hadn't noticed because I was preoccupied with my life, but he now harbored anger toward me. Perhaps that was why he chose Beth over me, especially given our failed attempts to have children. My life had turned into a soap opera that no one would believe. Divorce or betrayal? It seemed like a bad joke. I'd recently been extremely preoccupied about money. We'd saved a lot, and the idea of Alex claiming half just didn't feel right. "He's not getting away with this," I reminded myself, so I decided to hire a lawyer, threw myself into finding a lawyer determined to fight back. I searched endlessly until I found Miss Eleanor Hughes, a fierce attorney known for dismantling cheaters in court. We gathered every document, every proof of his betrayal. As the court date neared, anxiety gripped me. I wasn't used to this world, but Miss Hughes kept me focused. Miss Hughes laid out our case with precision, revealing every lie Alex had told. Then Alex took the stand. He spoke of wanting happiness, as if that justified his choices. Finally, the judge ruled in my favor. The words echoed like a release. Relief washed over me as I glimpsed Alex's stunned expression. I'd done it. I had taken back some control. Walking out of court, I felt free. This wasn't just a legal win, it was a turning point. I had reclaimed my voice. With the assets awarded to me, the house, the car, our shared savings, I felt I could start anew. Still, the victory was bittersweet. I had loved Alex once. Even though I'd won, I didn't feel triumphant. He had moved on while I was left alone. A legal outcome couldn't erase emotional scars. I wanted him to feel what I had felt, but I also knew I couldn't let vengeance consume me. Rebuilding had to be my focus, yet I couldn't resist seeking answers. I hired a private investigator to follow Alex and Beth. It felt invasive, but I needed closure. When the report came back, showing them happy and content, it stung. Every photo was a reminder of the life that was stolen from me. At night, I started sketching out small acts of revenge. It became a strange form of therapy, even if I never planned to follow through. As Beth's due date neared, my emotions became more tangled. I didn't know how I'd react to the baby. Anger? Sadness? Unexpected empathy? One evening, as I reviewed my revenge plans, I paused. What was I really chasing? Hurting them wouldn't undo my pain. It wouldn't bring back what I lost. Maybe it was time to stop feeding the bitterness, not for them, but for myself. I still didn't know what I'd end up doing. As Beth's due date approached, my emotions grew tangled. One moment, I felt bitter. The next, oddly concerned for her. Why should I care after what they did? Still, every time I saw a family with a baby, it stirred something painful and hopeful in me. It reminded me of everything I had once wanted. Then came a shift. Why should their choices rob me of my future? It wouldn't look how I had imagined, but that didn't mean it couldn't be better. I decided then I would become a mother on my own terms. No more waiting on someone else to define my happiness. It was time to take control. I began researching IVF and fertility treatments. I pushed forward scheduling consultations, meeting doctors, learning the process. The day I got the results about my reproductive health changed everything. I sat in the doctor's office expecting bad news. Instead, I was told I was perfectly capable of conceiving. Shocked, I realized I had spent years blaming myself when maybe the problem wasn't me at all. That thought haunted me. If I wasn't the issue, then maybe Alex was. I remembered how resistant he had been to getting tested, how easily he deflected blame. The urge to confront him was strong, to tell Beth, to watch their perfect world unravel. But I held back. Timing mattered. I kept the truth as a secret weapon, saving it for the perfect moment. Knowing the fault hadn't been mine was liberating, even as it deepened my sense of betrayal. I began planning my next move, not out of rage, but with cold precision. Eventually, that moment came. I learned through one of Beth's cousins that they were getting married. It was poetic. A close male friend agreed to help. Though hesitant, he understood my need for closure. We crafted subtle messages just enough to plant doubt in Alex's mind. At first, he didn't know what to make of them, but suspicion took root. He confronted Beth. She denied everything, but the damage was done. The fear in his voice, I was told, was unmistakable. Soon, cracks began to show. Rumors of arguments surfaced. Their picture-perfect relationship started to fray exactly as I had anticipated. From a distance, I saw the storm I had created slowly take shape. Alex began to change. He grew withdrawn, his relationship with Beth strained by doubt. Like a crack in the ice, it started small but spread quickly. Emotional distance grew, and I didn't have to lift another finger, just wait. Jane, Beth's cousin, and surprisingly, a friend of mine became an unwitting source of information. As Beth's due date neared, anticipation built. I wasn't just waiting for a child's arrival, I was waiting for truth to detonate. Beth was confused and deeply unsettled. She turned to Jane, pouring out her fears. Jane, unknowingly, funneled those moments back to me. Beth didn't understand why Alex had become cold and distant, especially when they were supposed to be celebrating new life, but I knew exactly why. Then came the moment everything changed. Beth gave birth, and instead of joy, the hospital room filled with icy silence. Alex, already distant, became colder. And then he asked for a paternity test. His demand shattered the fragile peace. Suspicion had taken root, and now doubt controlled him. The child didn't resemble him, and with the letters echoing in his mind, he needed certainty. The request was brutal and public. When the results arrived, the fallout was immediate. Alex was not the father. The revelation sent shockwaves through their circle. Trust was destroyed, and their lives unraveled. Alex filed for divorce, and Beth was left alone with her newborn. My plan had worked almost too well. Months later, I stood at the doorstep of Alex's new, smaller apartment. I brought a friend along just in case. This time, I was truly pregnant, carrying a future of my own making. When Alex opened the door, his eyes widened in disbelief. "Clara?" he asked, stunned. "I came to tell you something," I said calmly. I explained everything, my fertility tests, the truth about our past. His face shifted from confusion to understanding and finally to shame. The realization hit him. The problem had always been with him, not me. He was silent, the weight of his actions visibly settling on him. "I'm sorry," he whispered, more to himself than to me. "I don't need your apologies," I said. "I just thought you should know." I turned and walked away, feeling lighter. That visit wasn't about revenge, it was about closure. I had finally finished the chapter that had defined me for too long, and as I left, I carried only my future.